Hello Universus fans, I am here with not really retraction. Last time you saw me with this background, I was talking about my opinion that we were most likely never going to see another Universus MHA set. We may see other products such as a Blitz box or a Challenger, which have more loosely defined design processes, but the way to me MHA was designed and the way it feels and the fact it has so many sets made me think that it was not going to get another set. And I know this upset a lot of you. These were just my opinions. It was not rage bait. It was not me just trying to incite engagement. This was my actual feelings towards how the game is currently and how it no longer gels with the MHA style. But UKVersus R&D, which is an actual thing, it's not just me spitballing. I do have a research and development wing. Primarily it's just people shouting at me for doing the wrong things. Did come to me and they told me that my opinions are wrong, my reasoning is very illogical, and to top it off, that Dabby has been and always will be mid. I don't know if R&D were just in a bad mood, but I digress. So let's talk about why UKVersus R&D thinks I'm illogical, why we still have the possibility of seeing more MHA in this game. So I brought up the point that we haven't seen all 12 symbols in a set since Girl Power. We have seen all 12 symbols in Godzilla, as I did bring up in my Godzilla video, so please do go check that out. I stated that sets usually have this thematic theme. They won't cut symbols from a set. They won't cut symbols from an IP once it's established. My only evidence of this is Attack on Titan, which didn't change any of its symbols. It stuck with the same 6 symbols, despite the fact that some characters were clearly coded to have other symbols on them. Then we have a Critical Role, which took the already existing symbols and added to them, but didn't cut any of the symbols that were already established. So to me, that set a precedent of we do not cut symbols that are already established, and that kind of makes sense to me. But what R&D are telling me is that is results oriented thinking. Why would it matter? They don't need to support every single symbol in the Spotlight format. They don't need to have that kind of aspect. And the fact that we have the Dark Challenger, the fact that we have the Dark Hero Challenger kind of works in that way as well. We've got this individual product that came out that is not attached to Girl Power or anything else anyway. It's a standalone product which supports the 5 symbols that the character is on, plus additional symbols throughout the cards. If a product had to support all the symbols that its IP had, then the Dark Hero Challenger shouldn't exist. This will also tie into my Godzilla video, which isn't out at the time of recording, but my entire premise of my Godzilla video is saying that we're going to get all 12 symbols was reliant on the fact that the Challenger had all 12 symbols and we hadn't yet seen anything taken away. My statement that it wouldn't be good for Spotlight, R&D quite rightly pointed out, Spotlight isn't a competitive format, so what they add to Spotlight doesn't really matter as much, as long as the themes of the symbols are there, as long as the IP's getting support. That makes a lot of sense. I can't refute that one. Moving on with the symbols and spot, the fact that attunement exists but doesn't exist within the My Hero Spotlight design isn't a valid argument in terms of what R&D are saying. Yes, the Dark Hero Challenger, even after coming out after Attack on Titan, still didn't have attuned, is a fair point, but does not matter in the terms of overall design. As long as the characters who are in the set get their support, and as long as there's enough support for all the characters, that is what matters. The design team shouldn't be designing a product that will be going into competitive standard with Spotlight in mind. And again, I can't refute what R&D is saying there. Yeah, no, as long as the set is competitive and has its sealed and competitive interactions locked down, then it shouldn't be a case of, well, this isn't working Spotlight. Well, who cares? It's a side event. If it's an issue, you can always nerf it for Spotlight, which we've seen with MHA Spotlight before. it has its own ban list separate to retro and standard as well. Blitz is one that I kind of got into more of a discussion with R&D about, because the Dark Hero Challenger deck had no enhances on the attacks and then also had no blitzes. To me, that was a very awkward choice. It was all responses, and it kind of highlighted one of the issues people like to bring up with Blitz, is that any of these responses could have been blitzes and would have kind of had the same kind of interaction, apart from, say, Fagian Fury, which needed to be a response. There's a lot of abilities in those responses that could have been put in as blitzes. It just felt really awkward that there was no enhancers on the attacks, there was no blitzes on attacks, everything was a response. And to me, that was kind of a clue that they didn't want to put blitzes on there, or they couldn't put blitzes on there, nor did they want to backtrack and actually give us enhancers, when enhancers on attacks are kind of being phased out outside of enhancers that are not part of the card pool. We may still see some on momentum, but mainly we're seeing them on hands, and we're going to see, and we can be seeing them in other forms as well. But just because it couldn't exist before, just because it didn't exist before, doesn't mean that it won't exist now. They kind of use my own evidence against me here with Critical Role. The fact that Critical Role challenges had enhances, but the Critical Role set did not. It only had blitzes and responses. Is an absolutely valid point. They added something extra, and now Critical Role Spotlight has both. There's no reason MHA cannot have both. I think I touched on that briefly in the video. I did record that actual months ago. R&D did bring up, just because Blitz doesn't exist in the My Hero IP and Spotlight doesn't mean that it can't. I'm building a wall and I'm putting something out there that's saying it won't exist or it shouldn't exist, when it absolutely can, and it can quite easily be implemented. It will affect how some cards play and how some things interact and control, but it is Spotlight is not that deep, it's not that serious, it's meant to be a fun format, and those things can be touched on as and when they happen. So again, I like to think, going off the Dark Challenger not having any Blitz or Enhance, that's a point in my favor. But I do agree that just because they can't doesn't mean that they want. Just because it doesn't exist doesn't mean that they can't make it exist. The last point they brought up was about 2 symbol characters. So I stated that because we had 3 symbol characters, they would have to print another set with 3 symbol characters. Again, this was mainly a Spotlight aspect of you're introducing these underpowered characters into MHA Spotlight, but they're not afraid to print 3 symbol characters. Just because AOT and TMNT have 2 symbol characters doesn't mean that's the way it has to go down. 3 symbol characters are not really going anywhere. We still see them in Critical Role. We saw them in Fern and Dorian, who are new Critical Role characters. The Street Fighter 6 characters all have 3 symbols. So yeah, 2 symbol characters are not set in stone. It's not a case of after AOT everything is 2 symbol or 4 symbol or 5 symbol. Yeah, we've seen 3 symbol characters throughout TMNT. We've seen 3 symbol characters. We've seen 3 symbol characters in Critical Role. We've seen 3 symbol characters in Street Fighter. We're probably going to see 3 symbol characters keep popping up. And then we've seen 4 symbol characters with Fern. We saw a 5 symbol character with Deku. The Dark Hero Challenger is like a seesaw or a roundabout or emotional roller coaster at this point. But me just saying, yes, we're on 2 symbol characters, they don't fit into MHA, that was a bad point. That was just me making absolute nonsense. Yes, R&D are completely correct about that. Just because 2 symbol characters have been introduced does not mean they are the norm, does not mean they are the mold, does not mean that they're the default. That has been proven time and time again with Street Fighter, with Critical Role, and hopefully with more IPs moving forward. So yes, I'm not saying that I'm wrong, but I will say I didn't present everything, nor did I present both sides of the argument, and that's on me. I put 11 minutes onto that video. I could have done it. I don't know why I didn't present both sides of it. I just kind of said, here's all the reasons we're not going to be getting MHA, and then kind of ended it with, but I wish we, I hope we do. I really want to finish this arc. I'm a big fan of MHA. I really want us to finish this IP. I want the whole story to be concluded, and I really hope we get one more set to do that. I'm still kind of firmly in the camp it isn't happening, even with the 10-year anniversary of the anime in 2026. And I keep bringing it up a lot when talking about IPs. I hope we get it. I'm putting the manifestation out there, but my head, my pattern recognition, my logic is telling me we're done with that IP. And if you look at the comments on the previous video, there's a few people saying that we don't have the license anymore, or that we're just not going to get it anymore. It's going to other situations, or who knows? We don't know the full situation, how the MHA license is working. I would love to see this IP finish off, but R&D made some very good points, and usually I keep this just between myself and R&D, but I said, no, you guys make very good points. They came to me with bullet points and actual arguments, and usually it's just us riffing off each other. I said, I'm doing it. Okay, I'm going to make a video. I'm going to make a almost retraction kind of thing, going, I didn't tell you the whole story, and now you have the whole story. I made a mistake not giving you all the information, and I am sorry, and I really hope that I can improve my content and how I'm doing this. But to do that, I need you guys to let me know that. And yeah, I want to keep making content. I'm passionate about making the content, and I really do enjoy making it. I really enjoy talking about these aspects, and I really love seeing people's engagement on YouTube, on Twitter, on Blue Sky, on Facebook about these kinds of topics. And having these conversations is great because it lets other people get involved in the conversation. So yes, if this is the kind of content you want, let me know. I will happily do more research and work on my debating skills. But for now, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to let you go and enjoy yourselves at game night. Have some fun. I will see you all there myself, and I'll catch you in a bit. YouTube is saying that you guys would really enjoy this video, but I'm more thinking that you'll enjoy this video. But if you want to be kept up to date with all of my videos, you should really be pressing this button and subscribing to the channel. That is how you get kept up to date with all my videos.